Mhm. Okay, we're live now on Facebook. So good evening, everyone. Good evening, IFNG. Good evening, Sir Jeff. Good evening, Mr. M. So good evening, Sir DJ from World English
Good
Reviews.
evening.
Yeah. Good afternoon here in Abu Dhabi. And good
Okay,
evening to you.
so for tonight, we will be having a lecture with regard to speaking. So I will give the floor to Sir DJ now. Sir DJ.
Good evening po sa mga bagong gising na katulad ko. Right, so good evening to all of you guys from the Philippines and from Abu Dhabi and also all over the world. My name is Lijay De Jesus and we will have a quick class tonight. Okay, so I was asking your moderators before which topic to discuss, and nasabi nila that they think speaking would be a good topic because you're having some difficulties during your group practice. Is that right, ma'am? I
Yes,
got
sir.
that feedback. Okay,
Yes.
so we're gonna focus on that one, and you're in for a treat tonight. Why? Because let me tell you a story. Because I just took the IELTS test yesterday, so it's really fresh. Okay. In fact, tonight I'll be using questions that came out in my speaking test yesterday, and I'm gonna teach you how to answer them. Okay, this one will be more of a workshop instead of just a lecture because in a lecture only the teacher or the host speaks, but in a workshop, okay, there's a participation from the attendees. So of course I cannot control if you're gonna participate or not. It's up to you. Okay, and I won't be able to hear you or to see you. So it's actually in your control, whatever you want to do. Okay, but as for myself, I'm gonna try this to be as active and as participatory as I can because what's important if you want to learn speaking is you speak. I think a lot of you like watch videos of people speaking. Okay, that's a good start, but it's not the most ideal way to learn. Okay, more on that, more on that later. Okay, so ulitin ko lang po sa mga bagong dating. I'll be using questions that came out in my speaking exam yesterday. By the way, for my clients who are attending this webinar, hello po sa inyo. Long time no see. Uh, in tomorrow's classes po, okay, World English guys, in tomorrow's classes, I'll be discussing everything else. Okay, yung lumabas sa listening, reading, and also for writing. Discuss ko bukas. For tonight, I'm just gonna discuss speaking. Right? For those people who are messaging me right now in our Facebook group, yes, I will discuss everything tomorrow. Okay. Okay, for a moment. Oh, more people want to join us. They're asking for the link, so I'm gonna share our link so that we have more participants. Here you go. There. Okay, thank you very much. So let's start with a traditional starting point. Ito po. So welcome officially to our session tonight. Let me give you the rules of conduct first. Guys, please type your questions in the chat box or in the comment box or wherever you can type it. Ask as much as possible while it's free. Okay. It says here we will be having a Q&A session and at the later part of the presentation. But basically, that's okay. I want you to ask all throughout the presentation. I don't mind. Okay, for those on FB Live, okay, just send a message to our moderators and they will be able to relay it to me. Okay, enjoy the seminar. Don't hesitate to ask questions. It's free. And information about review programs is usually given at the end of the session. But if you want to ask early, pwede rin po. Let me introduce myself. Okay. So obviously I'm your speaker for today. Okay, my name is Lee J. De Jesus. I started teaching not so long ago in 2005. So right now I teach IELTS, OET. I teach English subjects in our company. I teach also civil service exam preparation. Soon, in a few weeks, I'll be teaching CELPIP and CALE. I'm undergoing training right now. And I've also handled classes for call center language training. Okay, especially new hires, the difficult students. Sa akin binibigay yung mga yan. Um, Last time I took my test, I got an overall Ielts score of 9 in 2019. And then I just took the test yesterday. So it was computer based. So I guess my results will be out maybe Wednesday. Okay, I hope to replicate that score. Siyempre. I also have a civil service eligibility, professional level, and I have a Cambridge CELTA qualification. So that's a certificate in English language teaching to adults. It's a very difficult 5-week course. Okay, it's Monday to Friday, starts at 8, ends at 5, plus 4 hours for assignments. Okay, and it's $2,000 worth. Okay, one of the most prestigious and intensive TESOL courses in the whole world. One more thing you need to know about me, guys. I'm not blonde, obviously. I do have white hairs though. Okay, I don't have a British accent or American accent, but I still achieved band 9 in speaking. And I think, I'll be able to help you out, whatever your target is. Just because you weren't born in an English speaking country, just because you weren't born speaking the language doesn't mean that you won't be able to do it. Yan po. So, I hope it serves as an inspiration. Kaya natin yan. Kaya natin yan. Okay? So, what else do you need to know? Our topic for today, oops, sorry. So our topic for today is all about the speaking test. So let me give you a quick overview. Although I think a lot of you already know this, right? So the speaking test, okay, is 11 to 14 minutes, okay, and it's a one-on-one interview. It's recorded. It's composed of 3 parts. So part one is the introduction and interview. Part two is the individual long term. Part three is the two-way discussion. So it starts easy, of course. The introduction and the overview, these are the easy parts. Okay, they will be verifying your identity. They'll ask your name. Okay, and then what they will ask you, about the things that you like and you don't like, more on personal yan. Okay, and then for the second part two, individual long term, they will give you a set of questions. Okay, it's one topic, but there will be like 4 guide questions. You will see these tonight. Okay, and then you will have 1 minute to prepare and to make notes. Okay, the paper and the pencil will be provided for you. Okay, and then what they will give you 2 minutes to speak. The examiner is not allowed to speak for 2 minutes. How do you know that the 2 minutes are over? When they ask you a follow-up question. They try to make it as smooth as possible, as natural as possible. So don't expect them to tell you to stop, the 2 minutes are up. No, they don't do it that way. They ask a closing up question. I think that's what they call it. Okay, so that it's as natural as possible. And then for part three, of course, expect this to be the most difficult. I'd call it challenging, the least boring part. Okay, because they will really test the extent of your skills in part three. It's a two-way discussion. So guys, no, longer answers in part three. That's how you get a good score there. They expect you to give answers in detail. Okay, and then they will test some advanced skills like talking about the future, maybe comparing the past to the present, maybe comparing two objects, giving an opinion about a matter, explaining in detail. Okay, all of these skills will be tested, and and um what usually the questions for part three are less about you, but they're more general questions about the public's opinion, about the world's opinion, or the attitudes of people in your country. So if part one is personal, part three is more general. Of course, they can, it's possible for them to still ask you about your personal preferences, but they want a larger discussion for part three. Okay. I hope that's clear so far. So we have 34 participants already in Zoom. Okay. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. It's 9:10. All right. So next po, how do they grade you? Okay, there are only 4 things that are being graded. So they do not judge, they don't have an evening gown competition, so don't worry. Your clothes will not be judged. It's also not a it's also not a beauty contest, so don't worry. Your face will not affect the scoring. Okay, it's also not a singing contest. Okay, so the quality or of your voice will also not be graded. I'm just gonna mute all the participants. All the participants. Thank you very much. Because if they graded the quality of the voice, I wouldn't get a 9. Look, my voice is a little bit grainy. It's graty. Okay, it's scratchy. All right. Pero nakakuha pa rin ng 9. So it is possible. So what do they grade then? Okay. So they give you a score for number 1, fluency and coherence. Okay, then the second criterion is lexical resource. Another 25% comes from grammatical range and accuracy, and the final 25% comes from pronunciation. Now I know you've had a lot of guests explaining this in detail. Tama ba ako? May I ask the moderators some questions? So you've had speakers discussing the descriptors, tama? The band
Yes,
descriptors
sir.
for speaking. Yes, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Before. Mhm.
Okay, so usually ganyan. So I'm gonna do this a little bit differently. And I think the first time I guested with your group, I also did that, no? I discussed it in detail. Although I only focus on the most important points. Okay? So let me just summarize it for you now. Okay, how to get a good score for each one of these. Are you ready? Okay, ready na kayo? Notebooks ready? I'm gonna simplify it. I'm not gonna make it, technical because if you want a technical explanation, I could discuss this. Okay, this is the official public version of the speaking band descriptors. As you can see, there's so many bullet points to fulfill there. If you want to download this, it's available. Just go to ielts.org. Just type speaking band descriptors. Okay, or maybe the admins can post it, in your group. Pwede naman mag-share ng files yata. Okay, however, it takes a trained eye to really interpret what these mean. Okay, so what I'm gonna do tonight to make it a bit different is I will simplify it, okay, and I will put it in in my own words. Sige, ready? How to get a good score for each one of them. Let's start with fluency and coherence. This is probably the most important one. Yes, it's 25%, just like the other criteria there. But if you get a good score in fluency and coherence, it will also help increase your score for your lexical resource. It will also help you increase, believe it or not, it will help you increase your score for grammatical range and accuracy. Why? When you give short answers, it affects fluency and coherence. It also affects grammar because of the sentence structures. Because in grammar, they look at, of course, they look at the amount of grammatical errors that you make, but most people don't know. They also look at the structure of your sentences. If you're using too many simple sentences, then you get a lower score. You want high scores? Then you use complex sentences or compound complex sentences because they look at that. Okay? So going back to fluency and coherence, it's composed of two parts. Okay? Fluency and coherence, and then they actually grade both. Okay, so let's focus there. If you want to see it in detail here, I'm gonna provide that for you. There you go. So let's just focus on the higher scores. Yeah, fluency and coherence bands 9, 8, and 7. Read it if you want. Okay, so how do you get a high score here? 7, 8, or 9? First of all, the most basic condition, you need to speak. Okay, the most basic condition is you need to speak. That's it. Okay. Without that, if you keep on giving short answers, oh man, don't take the test. It's a speaking test. Okay. The intentions might be there, but if you don't open your mouth, then you will not get a good score. So answer as much as possible without going off topic because I've interviewed people. Okay, not only for the IELTS, also for the other English tests, okay, who are capable of giving, long answers, but they actually go off topic and they're not answering the question. May tawag dun. It's called false fluent. at first they sound impressive, okay, they sound fluent, but if when the examiner really analyzes the content of their answer, hindi naman nila sinasagot. Or maybe they did answer the question at first in the first half of their answer, but then they got lost somewhere in the middle, and then they might have gone totally off tangent off tangent already towards the end of their answer. Okay, so be careful then. Are you really answering the question? So guys, stay on topic. Okay. Well, sometimes it also happens to me because I'm a bit, you know, I'm talkative. All right. So sometimes I do go off topic. Okay. But of course, it's a matter of monitoring yourself. Ano lang yan? Self-knowledge, self-discipline. When you know your weaknesses, that's the start to fixing them. Okay. Next. Um, yeah. How do you get more fluent? I've heard from some of the moderators and also some of the students that they're willing to they're willing to speak. They want to speak, but nothing comes out because they don't know anything about the topic. So I have two solutions to that one. Okay, for fluency and coherence, no, sir. Gusto ko namang sumagot kaso wala akong alam tungkol sa topic. Kaya sir, parang I know what I have this idea what I want to say, but I cannot say it. Okay. Well, first of all, of course, you practice saying it. And how do you practice? Alam ko lagi nyo narinig to. How do you practice? Okay. At first by listening to other people. Secondly, by actually doing it. But because some people say that they're practicing, but actually they only do it in their heads. When you practice a skill, you have to actually do it. So are you really speaking or are you just mumbling? Baka naman bumubulong lang kayo. Okay? Secondly, it's really hard to talk about a topic if you don't know anything about it. So guys, info, educate yourselves. Educate yourselves. So take a look at your habits. So what do you watch? Ano bang pinapanood niyo? Okay, if you watch a lot of useless stuff on social media or YouTube or Netflix, maybe it's time to stop that. Okay, well, uh, not forever, but until you pass your test. So what do you watch? Do you watch those cute animal videos? It's nice to watch a few of those, but too much will not help you. Okay, what do you watch? A lot of Tulfo, yeah, or what local news items? Maybe you can stop watching those for the meanwhile. They're not even in English. Secondly, they just cause negativity. Okay, so no, they might distract you from what you're trying to achieve. So maybe if you really like those types of things, maybe you can return to those after your test. Okay, if you want recommendations on what to watch, I'll happily give you some. Here they are. Okay, so Netflix and YouTube. For YouTube muna, YouTube. Oh, okay. One of the most one of the best shows I think, or one of the best people that you can follow on YouTube would be Thoughty. Here's his name, Thoughty2. There. Does everyone see it? Thoughty2. Okay, this guy is on YouTube. And you know what? I took my test yesterday, right? Yung lumabas po sa reading test ko was actually one of his episodes. So I think what came out in the reading test was his source material for one of his episodes. I was really surprised. Okay, so I finished early. I think I had like 25 minutes left. Okay, in my reading test, I finished quickly because one of the reading passages in the reading test I've actually encountered in one of his episodes. Ito, si Thote to Idol ko to is so knowledgeable and entertaining. And you can actually use the information that he gives in his shows. Galing. Okay, pakumusta daw. So the moderators want to say hello to our 107 FB Live viewers and 42 Zoom participants. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. This is Lee, happy to be here. So, YouTube, that guy's great. 32. Now, if you're more of a Netflix person, okay, you go to the search, to the search function, and then you type in explained. That one. One of the best things that you can watch for your IELTS preparation and for your entertainment also. Okay. Yeah. So, actually, it's not one show. It's a whole lot of shows. So, the other shows here are you have Sex Explained. These are the titles of their series. Okay, and then they have COVID Explained, one of the best, series I've seen. So, COVID Explained. And then they have The Mind Explained. Okay, you can watch any of these in any order. You don't need to watch them in order. You look at the titles and then you choose which one you want. You will probably learn something there that you can use for your speaking and your writing test. It's hard to be fluent if there's nothing. Okay? Then you have History 101. Okay, so if you want to access all of these, go to Netflix, just type explained and all of these will come out. Okay, so okay ba? Yan. Has anybody watched any of these things that I'm talking about? Itong mga Zoom participants natin, do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen the explained series and have you watched some episodes from 32? Oh yeah, thanks Jenny. Ganda, no? History 101. It's beautiful. Okay, instead of relying on fake news, social media, get it from reliable sources po. Okay, so guys, to get a good score, going back to Ielts, to get a good score for fluency, Fear Street. Maybe you can stop watching Fear Street for the moment. Then when you pass your test, sige na lahat, panoorin na lang. The Conjuring, yeah, lahat na nakakatakot. I've stopped watching horror shows, by the way. Okay, COVID Explained, yeah, it's beautiful. So to get a good score for fluency and coherence, speak, give long answers. Because if you do that, it will also affect the other areas. It will make it easier for you to pass the test. And make sure you're answering the question. Ganun lang kasimple. No? Let's not make it too technical. That's it. Okay? Give long answers. Don't go off topic. Boom. That's at least a 7. Right? Guys, if you have questions, you can type them in anytime. I will not wait for the end, okay, of this of this session to to answer your questions. Sorry, I have a headache. I haven't had coffee. Oh, I've only had 1 cup today, so I'm gonna have one after our class. Whew, Lexical Resource, how to get a good score for this one. Okay, here's the description. So you have 9 there at the top, 8 here at the middle, and then at the bottom is band score 7. If you want to take a quick look, sige. I'm gonna give you 15 seconds to do that. Although it's technical. Mhm. Okay. So lexical resource is just vocabulary. Oh yeah, nah. So you have the technical descriptions. Now let me simplify it for you. Okay, you will not get a good score for lexical resource if you give short answers. Oh, 32. Yeah. Okay. So guys, you will not get good scores. Okay? If you give short answers, habaan nyo naman ng konti. Habaan nyo konti. Okay? Next. Please don't overdo it. Yan. Lagi ko ina-advise, lalo na sa writing. Oh man, please don't overdo it. Kasi minsan OA eh. I mean, if you're the only one, don't invent your own terminologies. If you're the only one who understands what you're trying to say, or if your answer is so hard to follow, okay, because of the very difficult vocab that you're using, then maybe you should just simplify it. You'd be surprised. Band 9 isn't that, because um, a band 9 is an effective communicator. Okay, so effective communicator. If the other party has a difficult time understanding you or following you, are you effective? Sipin nyo. Hindi, di ba? In any language, not only in English, it might be Kapampangan, it might be Arabic. Okay? Good evening to the Habibis out there. Okay? In the Middle East. Ano pa ba? So, and you're already educated because most of you have degrees, diba? This is a nurses group, so yeah, you're well educated. You took the board exams. It's enough because Band 7 is just what? First year or second year college level vocabulary. So it's not even specialized vocab. It's, general education vocabulary. All right. So maybe the most important thing you need to take note of here. Okay, here it comes. Okay, the simplified version. Okay, simplified version. Sulat nyo sa notebook nyo. Okay. Don't copy the examiner's words. Parang elementary lang. No copying, di ba? Ganito din sa Ielts. No copying. Okay? So, anong ibig sabihin nun? Okay? Try to paraphrase. Ayan. Well, it's actually here. See, take a look at the Lexical Resource. Band 8 uses paraphrase effectively. Band 7 uses paraphrase effectively. So what is paraphrasing? Not copying the words from the question. And we do have a tendency to do that. Why? I will blame our teachers. Kasi sabi nila, di ba, when you were in elementary, what's your name? My name is, ganun yung turo sa atin. Where do you live? I live in number 32. Okay, ganun eh. What do you want to be when you grow up? When I grow up, I wanna be. Hindi pala I wanna be. I want to be. Okay. Kasi yung I wanna be, that's actually pretty good. Okay, that's high level pronunciation, but most Filipinos we say I want to be. We meant Ma'am Jazz, don't draw on the screen. Okay, please avoid drawing. I'm gonna erase that. There you go. Thank you very much. So guys, huwag niyong kopyahin. Ganun lang yun. And tonight, we're gonna have a lot of practice on that. The second half of this session will be interactive. I will give you the chance to test yourselves and I will provide you with good answers. Okay, so participate lang tayo. Yeah, that's the difference between my lecture and other lectures. Not really a lecture. Okay lang, Ma'am Jazz, it happens. Naka-cellphone ka siguro or tablet. It happens a lot with cell phones and tablets. I've done it then. Okay, so there you go. So guys, paraphrase tayo. Okay, wag natin gayahin lang yung yung wordings nila. Okay? It might sound difficult at first, but I will prove it to you tonight. It's easier than you think. With a little bit of preparation, I'll be teaching you some very effective study techniques that I share with my personal students. Okay? Next. Let's take a look at grammar. Yan. Basahin niyo yung 987. I'm gonna give you a few seconds. Right? Parang mahirap intindihin, no? Because the the sentences are a bit technical. It's for language specialists. Okay, I will simplify it for you. Take a look at 7. Okay. Sabi niya dito, uses a range of complex structures with some flexibility. Okay, it just means use longer sentences, give longer answers, explain as much as you can. That's it. Bawal ang tamad sa Ielts. Okay? Bawal ang tahimik sa Ielts. Kailangan madaldal. Next, frequently produces, ito, second bullet point. Frequently produces error-free sentences, though some grammatical mistakes persist. Good news. Even if you have a couple of grammatical mistakes or errors, okay, that you can't really remove or they resurface from time to time, it's still possible to get a 7. Siyempre kasi, you're not aiming for 9. Kung 7 lang yan, grammar doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, so anong sekreto dito? Ito lang yan. Make sure that you know your 2 most common grammatical mistakes. You might have 10 or 15 or 20 or more actually. Okay, but the secret to getting to 7 is identify your most common grammar error, your weakest area. Okay, well, the first 2 pala, the top 2. Okay, and then just work on fixing them. That's it. You don't need to fix everything. Just your top 2 errors. Okay, yan lang. So how do you know that? It would probably be difficult to do that on your own. So this is where a good teacher comes in. Okay, and this is the reason why we continue to have a business, even though ang dami ng libreng information. Yeah, you have excellent groups like this group, okay, that invite that basically compete with us. Totoo naman. Okay, pero we still have a business. Why? Because, group lectures like this, okay, they only serve to give you some general info. But when you really want to learn na, okay, to fix your own performance, then you need some personalized teaching. That's why we're still here, and that's why we're still strong. Oh, by the way, I would just like to share. So interrupt ko lang. This is a very happy day for me because what? Earlier today, 3 p.m. I think was the annual partners gathering. Okay, British Council awarded their top agents and janjaran. Okay, can you see my screen? Kita po ba yung poster and graphic? Gonna zoom in.
No, sir. It's your Facebook Messenger.
My Facebook. Okay. Can you? Okay. Okay. Sige, sige. Here. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yes, and I'm not in the picture. I really appreciate this one. Nakabalik kami sa number 3. The last time we were number 3 nationwide was a few years ago. Okay, and then we started dropping. Why? Because the other companies, they have money to build a lot of branches. We only have 2 right now. Okay, our competitors have 30 or 40. Pero guys, imagine that. We only have 2 branches. We still won top 3 nationwide. That should tell you something. And I'm very thankful kasi po, we're a small company. Okay. We're not millionaires yet. Lapit na. Okay. We started small. We started the company with an utang. 300,000 peso loan. That's how we started. Okay. Pero ayan po, na-recognize kami. I was very happy. This was a good, wow. That's a good reward for all the effort. Minsan kasi because of the pandemic, nakaka-discourage na. Pero yan pa rin, na-recognize pa rin. So thank you, British Council. And there's another one. So nationwide yan, the whole Philippines. But I think the next one is more important. Ito. Tchan-tchararan, where is it? Ito ang gusto kong award. Okay, so this is top 1 in Pampanga. So even though in Pampanga, okay, all the big review centers are present. Okay, di ko sasabihin yung pangalan nila, no? Sebas tsaka Niner, I didn't say their names. Okay, even though they're present in our province, at our offices are within 1 kilometer of each other in San Fernando intersection, kami pa rin yung nag-number 1. Okay, even though we have a staff of less than 10 people, we only have 2 offices. Yan po. So that should tell you something about our quality. So ang saya ng araw ko. Nakaka-uplift po ng spirit yan. Okay? So hindi porke maraming branch tsaka maraming teachers mas magaling. Actually, we only have very few teachers now. I think we only have 4 now. Okay? Because we're very selective with who we choose. Yes. Salamat. Salamat po. Maraming salamat. Going back kasi sinare ko lang, alam ko that's not your goal for today. Okay? So balik tayo sa discussion ko. So, grading ng speaking po. Okay? Nasa na tayo? Last one is pronunciation. Ayan. Pronunciation. Let's look at it closely. There you go. Ayan. Ayan. So here's band 9. Band 8 and the useless band 7 description. I don't like this one. Tingnan niyo yung band 7. Shows all the positive features of band 6 and some but not all of the positive features of band 8. So it's a joke. Tapos sabi niya, ano yung 7? Okay, lampas ka ng 6, hindi ka pa 8. Wow. Nice. Okay. So just take a look at the band 8. Okay, what can I tell you about this? How do I simplify this for you? First of all, if you've been listening to me, okay, I don't have the best voice, all right? I don't sound British, Australian, American, and I don't even try to fake my accent, right? I still got 9 with this one. Yun lang po. So I hope that inspires you. Posible kahit ganito. Posible maka 9, all right? Ooh, Here's a good question, sabi niya. Is it okay to answer the question immediately instead of paraphrasing? Oh naman, answering the question immediately is also a form of paraphrasing. Okay, paraphrasing pa rin yun. So yes, go ahead. Pwede niyong gawin yan. I'll demonstrate it to you tonight. Right? So, ano pa ba? How do you improve your score for pronunciation? Hindi accent, Hindi accent. They're measuring pronunciation, not accent. These things are different. You need to identify your problem sounds. Everybody has one. Everybody has one. My problem sounds tayo. The sounds that tell other people that you're obviously not, not native. Okay, so what are these sounds? Okay, F, P, pipe. Yan, pipe. Yan. Instead of saying it with an F, you say it with a P. Cellphone, photo. Yan, yung mga yan, di ba? Ano pa? V and B, you already know this. In Pampanga, I have a lot of students who are able to say the F, but they forget to pronounce the V. So nagiging five. Listen, five. That's a B sound. Dapat five. May space. Five. Okay? How can you identify that? Well, you can record yourself and then listen. If you haven't recorded yourself yet, you're not studying properly. Ang gaganda ng cellphones nyo. Your cell phones are very powerful computers. You haven't recorded yourself yet. I require my students to record. Actually, pinapagalitan ko pag di nagre-record. Okay? At yung recording, hindi po once a month, no? Every day. Hindi naman matagal yan eh. 10 minutes lang yan, pwede na. So, going back. So, VB sounds, okay? 5, not 5. Okay, and then for people here in my province, yung TH, yan. I also make mistakes with it from time to time. No? I catch myself. Imbis na there, nagiging there. Imbis na mother, nagiging mother, father, father. Okay, so please identify it. Listen to yourself. Okay, o kaya you ask one of your family members to record you. Okay, na hindi mo alam kasi mas maganda pag natural. Mm-hmm. Another problem sound for us, for a lot of non-native speakers is the O sound. In the Filipinos, we usually pronounce it as O, not O. O, flat siya, O. In English kasi, it's mostly rounded O. For instance, okay, some people say photo. You will sound better if you say photo. Right? Pakinggan nyo, photo. Okay? Let's go. So what? Bilog, di ba? So go. Oh, social. Okay? Sago. Even Filipino words, even non-English words, when you round the O, nagiging English sounding din siya. So maybe, you can try it out. So go, photo, no. Okay? Have you taken your medicine? No, sir. No. Diba? Mas maganda yung tunog eh. Okay, here's another one, the T sound. Comment nung isa nating moderator, kadiri po ang boses ko. Kapag pine-playback ko, ako rin. Remember, the voice that you know, okay, is not what other people hear. Yung naririnig nyo na, yung akala nyo yung boses nyo, hindi yan ang boses nyo. Okay, because your bones are vibrating. So a recorder is better in approximating your real voice because that's what they hear. Yun narinig sa recorder, yun ang naririnig ng ibang tao. Yes, ako din. Minsan nakala ko maganda boses ko, hindi pala. Okay? What else? Oh, okay. Going back, other things that you can do to sound better, yung mga P, T, tsaka K, P. Pa, ta, tsaka yung ka. They should be P, T, K. Okay, as, pinupush sila, may konting buga. Pakinggan nyo 10, 10, which sounds better. Magbilang lang tayo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mas maganda yung 10 sa 10, di ba? Oh, pineapple. People. Konti lang, no? Huwag naman makamalawayan yung kausap niyo. Alright? Diba? Kahit na yung K eh. Okay? What? Kitten. Kitten. Diba? Yan. So push nyo lang, lagyan nyo lang ng konting buga and you will sound better. Even non-English words. Pakinggan nyo. Tatay, tatay. Okay? Tatay, nasaan ka na? Tatay, nasaan ka na? Tatay. Okay? So ano pa? What else can I teach you? Guys, ER sounds. ER. A lot of non-natives say lalo mga Pilipino kasi because of the Spanish influence, di ba? Instead of pronouncing it as like master, maybe you can pronounce it with a U sound, parang imbis na Pakinggan nyo, master, hindi master, faster, imbis na faster. Okay? Imbis na terminate, you can say terminate, Diba? Imbis na germinate, you can say germinate. Okay? Instead of saying ermita, you can say ermita. imbis, imbis na sabihin yung sir, good morning, sir, you can say sir with a U sound, sir. Try it out, sige. Listen to yourself. So, how do you say these things? Ganun ba kayo? Okay? Bigger? Ganun ba kayo mag-pronounce or bigger? Yan. Huwag niyo buko yung sarili niyo. Germany? Germany? It's better if it sounds, if it's a U sound, Germany. Di ba? Imbis na Germany. Germany. Yeah. So ayan po, I hope you're having fun. I hope you're learning. Mga ano to, mga instant fix. This is part of our classes. Okay. So, that's it. So how do you get a good score for pronunciation? Let me simplify it. What's the number one advice? Tanggalin yung hiya. Maybe that's my number one advice for tonight. Tanggalin yung hiya because a lot of you are capable of improving your pronunciation. The problem is you're too conscious about it. You're too shy about it. Hey sir, baka matawa kayo pag nagganon ako. Pag ako na lang mag-isa, dude, are you taking the test by yourself? No, you're gonna be speaking with another person. Get used to it. And then when you go abroad, bakit? Pag nasa banyo kayo, doon lang kayo magpa-proper pronunciation. Pag kausap niyo yung boss niyo, Filipino accent pa rin. Dude, come on. Okay? Yung fear, actually the fear yan of getting exposed. Yan. That's one of the things that's stopping you from becoming a better English speaker. Tanggalin yung iya. Sir, nakakaya sa kayo kasi sa mga co-workers ko, baka biru-biruin nila ako. Hindi, biru-biruin ka nila, biru-biruin mo rin sila. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you're the one taking the test. You're the one who's gonna benefit when you pass, not them. Well, unless sesendan mo sila ng mga chocolate, tsaka ng mga Lacoste, yan. Napakagalanting kaibigan. Pero guys, in the end, you're gonna be doing this on your own. And the examiner will not know kung natural accent mo yan o hindi. So first thing you need to remove is your shyness, maybe your fear, right? To improve your pronunciation. Secondly, you need to be smart about it because there are a lot of people who think they're preparing for the Ielts, for the speaking test. But when I interview them, mali pala. Okay? Hindi pala, nare-realize nila, hindi pala ako nagre-review. Okay? O sige, you want samples? So maybe you're doing this. Maybe you're doing this. Okay. So what did you do last week to improve your speaking test? Sir, nanood po ako ng mga video sa YouTube, yung example nung detalyado nga, example ng 98765. Okay, congratulations for improving your listening skills. That's improving your listening, not your speaking. Why? Because you didn't speak. So are you that type of person? Maybe you've been doing it like that. It's wrong. You want to improve that's a good start, but it won't get you there. Magsalita kayo. Next, have you heard yours? Have you ever recorded yourself speaking? Okay, sir, di pa ako ready. Are you gonna be ready tomorrow? Are you gonna be ready on Monday or next week? Are you gonna be ready next month? When are you gonna be ready? Let me tell you guys, you're not gonna be 100% ready even on the day of your test. I took my test yesterday. Okay? My interview was at 10:10. Oh, exacto, no? Okay? And I've been teaching IELTS for 16 years. Was I 100% ready yesterday? Not really. I had like 3 hours of sleep. Then I drove 3 hours to get to British Council office in Taguig. So was I 100% ready? Not really. I arrived there 10 minutes before my test. So medyo stressful yung experience. But I still think I did well. Okay? So, ganun lang, no? Guys, speak. Okay, sir, last week I read sample answers. You read them. Yes, sir. I printed them, and then when I'm traveling to the hospital, I read them. Okay, I download them. I downloaded on my cell phone. Okay, that's reading. That's reading. Okay. So guys, you want to learn speaking? Simple lang. Speak. Ano pa? Ako, sir, I'm very proud to say, sir, that yeah, I practice with my daughter. No, I don't know, no, where she learned English. She's only 8 years old, but she's better than me. Okay? Maybe because she watches, may pinapanood ng mga bata ngayon, Baby Shark. She watches stuff, English shows on YouTube. Okay, mag-IELTS ba yung anak mo? Is she asking the kind of questions that will come out in the test? Does she know the grading system? Maybe it's better to practice with people who are also taking the IELTS, diba? Because you have the same goals. Secondly, examiners are adults. They're not kids. Nakikita nyo, when you practice, isipin nyo, what's gonna happen in the actual, in the actual event? You approximate those conditions. Logic lang naman yan eh. Minsan kasi we're not logical about how we approach things. Of course, it's better if you practice with somebody who's trained how to grade. Eh, di ko sinasabi mag-enroll kayo sa amin, no? Kasi marami namang review centers, pero mas maganda ang sa amin. Alright? Peppa Pig. Alright, thank you very much. So, you have any questions about Lexical Resource? Fluency and Coherence, grammatical range and accuracy or pronunciation, just type them and our moderators will ask me, or you can type them directly in our chat boxes. Okay? Ayan, now, 9:47, okay. Let's go to the more exciting parts. Okay. For me, it's the more exciting part because I memorized my questions yesterday. As soon as I got my phone, I recorded them. Okay, and I'm gonna share them with you tonight. I will give you the chance to test yourself because I will not give you the answers right away. I'll give you a few seconds to answer, and then you can compare them with my suggested answers. Okay, ba yun? Is that fun? Has anybody else done that with you guys? I don't watch all of your guests. Eh. Ah, wala pang gumawa. Very good. I like doing unique things. Ayokong gumagaya. So, here we go. Wait lang. Let me stop sharing. How do I do this? Wait, let me figure it out. I don't want to show you all the questions at once eh, kasi you're gonna lose focus. So I'm hoping to show them one by one po. Sige. So maybe copy paste na lang. Sige. So I'm gonna copy paste. Two documents na lang side by side. Okay. Yes. I know what to do now. So here you go. There. So first, I'm going to show you each question as they appeared in the actual exam. And then I will give you like maybe 30 seconds to do some self-practice. No need to turn on your microphones, guys. No, wag niyong i-on. Magkakagulo tayo. It's gonna be too noisy. Just practice by yourself. Guys, please speak because you're practicing for the speaking test. Okay? Sera na lang, isipin ko na lang yung sagot. Ganun din mangyari sa test. Maisip mo yung sagot, pero di ka makapagsalita. It's not a thinking test. Okay? It's not a thinking test, it's a speaking test. Speak. I don't need to hear your answers. Okay? Mute lang po kayo, mute lang. Do not unmute. Okay? And then I will type, I'll type some suggested answers. Okay? Let me just format this one. Magandang size. Is that readable? Okay, I think that's readable. Tell me if the font is too small so that I can make adjustments. Right. So here, can you guess what the first question was? Hulaan nyo. Okay, so let's begin. I'll be answering the questions. Oh, by the way, paano yung setup? Okay, so there was a, so I went into the British Council office. Again, then they verified my identity. They took a look at my They took a look at my signature. They took a look at my picture on the passport, compared it to my face. They asked me to remove my mask. Okay. Then they asked me to confirm my name. They asked me my birthday. They asked me which module I was taking. So be prepared to answer those even before the interview. Okay. After that, we were sent to a room. So sino yung nasa kwarto? Ako lang plus the invigilator. Okay. There will be a laptop there. Okay, then they will give you this beautiful, ganda, beautiful set of wireless Sennheiser, what headphones. Okay, and the quality is so nice, parang katabi mo yung examiner, because those headphones are very expensive. Okay, siguro mga 3 buwang sweldo natin or 4 na buwang sweldo. Really expensive. Tapos mabigat, so ang sarap sana, ang sarap sa ulo. Okay. It was very clear, and they were using something similar to Zoom. So having Zoom practice is actually quite good. Okay? I had no problems with audio quality and video quality. Sana nga ganun kaganda yung setup ko eh. Of course, may budget yan. Okay? So, first question, what's your name? Please answer. I'll give you 15 seconds. What's your name? Please state your full name. All right. So, how did you answer it? Palagay nyo ba? Okay. Now ask yourself, if somebody else was listening to that answer, masasabi ba nila yung pangalan nyo ngayon? Mauulit ba nila without asking you to repeat your name? Will they be able to repeat your name now? A lot of you, maybe yes, but I think, aminin natin, some of you, baka hindi. Why? Because sanay na kayo masyado sa pangalan nyo. So used to saying your name that sometimes you're saying it too fast. Remember, it's always the examiner, okay, that you should be, that you should think about. Naintindihan ba ni examiner? Oh, compare these two. What's your name? Lige Jesus. Hmm? What's your name? It's Lige de Jesus. Which one is better? Of course, the second one. What's your name? It's Lige de Jesus. What's your name? It's Lige de Jesus. Di ba mas maganda? So guys, enunciate. Say your name properly. Put a little bit of space, a little pause, just a little bit between your names. Okay, especially between your first name and your last name, not just for the Ielts test, also for the conference that you're going to be attending, the business meetings, okay, the promotion interviews, the hiring interviews that you're going to attend. Okay, saying your name nicely, beautifully, is making a good impression. Kasama ng Ielts yan. So, nasasabi nyo ba ng maayos ang pangalan nyo? Secondly, what kind of pronunciation, name pa lang tayo, di ba? Ang detalyado. So, what kind of pronunciation are you using when you're saying your name? Are you using Filipino pronunciation or English pronunciation? Dapat English, no? For example, if your surname, okay, let me take a look at the list of participants. Tignan nga natin. Okay. Kunwari, no, ayan, si Eloisa Orola. I think Orola yan, di ba? Ma'am, are you listening? How do you say your name? Is it Orola? Ma'am Eloisa? Okay. So, let's presume that you pronounce it as Orola. How do you say it during the test? Dapat, Orola. Okay, my name is Eloisa Orola. Okay, let me share my screen para makita niyo yung questions. Ayan po. My name is Eloisa Orola. If your surname is David, it might be better if you say it as David. So my name is, okay, Irving David, imbis na David. Yan, yung mga Filipino names natin. Okay, o ano pa? Imbis na Morales, maybe you can say Morales. Yung S sound mo magiging parang Z. Okay? Let me take a look at the other names. Ito, may Marcos dito. Imbes na Marcos, maybe you can say Marcos. Medyo bilog yung O. All right? Katakutan? Katakutan. Okay, di ba? My name is Jay Katakutan. This is a common surname in Pampanga, by the way. My name is Jay Katakutan. Okay? Kung IELTS yan dapat, my name is Jay Katakutan. Katakutan. Okay? It's more English sounding, di ba? Yan. Sige, tanong nyo lang. Tanong lang kayo. So guys, ganun po. It all starts with your name. So I hope you will master saying it properly. Yes, that's a good one. Feliciano, imbis na Feliciano. Feliciano. Ayan, gaya ganun eh. Yun ang English. It's O. It's not O. It's O. Alright? O, meron pang iba? Okay. O yan, ayan, nakukuha nyo na. Ayan. Have fun with it, no? Have fun with it. Huwag kayong maya. Pag inunan nyo yung iya, walang mangyayari. So instead of being shy about it, maybe you can turn it into something fun. Maybe you can turn it something as, maybe you can turn it into a game. Okay? So yun po, what's your name? The second question they asked me, surprise, was this one. Okay? So ang sabi niya dito, sabi ni Miss, bawal pangalan. Sabi ni Ma'am, where do you come from? Okay? Sige nga, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to answer this. Where do you come from? Go. Siyempre ako, sinabi ko, Pampanga kasi doon ako galing. Okay? So sample answers. Okay, where do you come from? How do you answer this one? Oops. Ayoko nito. Tab. Okay, so how did I answer this? Gawin natin. Oops. Ano ba? Gawin natin italics. That doesn't sound good. Wait lang. There you go. Okay, there. There you go. So, if you said, I come from Pampanga, I come from Cubao, okay? Pwede na, but you're targeting a high score. There are much better answers. Now, if you say, I came from Manila, o kaya I came from, kung nasan man kayo, okay, I came from Pateros, that would be a grammatical error. Where do you come from? Dapat, I come from, not I came from. Saying I came from is wrong. Because until today, you're still from there, permanent resident ka dun eh. So present tense dapat yan. Okay, so what would be some nice answers there? Imbis na, where do you come from? Imbis na, I come from Pampanga. Instead, you can say, I drove, okay? Or today I drove, okay, from my hometown in Pampanga. Yan. Oh, edi paraphrase, di ba? Oh, iba. Hindi siya higher level siya, hindi masyadong basic. Okay? Or you can say that Pampanga is my home province. There you go. Or maybe you can even say I'm a native of, or I'm a resident, pwede rin. I'm a native of, okay, Pampanga. Oh, di ba paraphrase imbis na, where do you come from? I come from. Nako. Better effort. Right? Oh, parang ano to, sir? Parang pang-beauty contest. I came from the golden city of friendship, Cagayan de Oro. Okay, pwede. Gawin lang, Sir Roldan, ano lang, tanggalin mo lang yung I came from. Okay? Dapat come yan. Okay, totally. Don't say come or came. Okay? You can say that, but Cagayan de Oro, okay, is my, what? Is my city ba to? Yeah, city of residence. Okay, or Cagayan de Oro is my home city, and it's called the Golden City of Friendship. Yeah. I was born and raised in Pampanga. Yes, pwede rin yun. I'm a resident of Siargao. Excellent. Okay, ganda. Excellent. Very good. And you do know that these are the most common opening questions, di ba? So kailangan ma-master ninyo to. Second, next question. Pagkatapos nila akong tanungin ng where do you come from? The next question was here. Okay, I'm gonna give you 10 seconds to do this. So, do you live in a house or in an apartment? Go. Okay? So ano, nakuha nyo ba? By the way, may nakita akong nag-answer dito, Angie. Tanggalin mo lang yung particularly. You don't need to say particularly. Okay na yan. Maganda na yung sagot mo. Just remove particularly. It doesn't, it doesn't serve any function or any purpose in the sentence. All right? So, do you live in a house or in an apartment? Most people would just say, I live in a house or I live in an apartment. Ano yung pwede nyo i-paraphrase dyan? Okay? You can change live. Palitan nyo. Imbis na live. Okay, I'm residing, I'm staying. Imbis na house, you can say, okay, a two-story house. Okay? I live, or we have a bungalow. Oh, pwede yan. Oh. Type ko na nga. Okay, we have a bungalow in in Magalang or in ano ba Magalang? In Mabalacat City. Okay? I think it was originally owned by my grandmother. Right? Okay, sino yun? I-mute ko lang yun. There you go. Mute tayo, mute. Yan, here's one way of answering it. Okay, kita nyo, walang house, walang apartment, wala rin yung word na live. That's an excellent paraphrase. Okay, or you can also say, imbis na apartment, you can say condo unit. Bongga, condo unit. Condominium, mas maganda. Condominium unit. Okay, or ano ba? We are staying at our ancestral house. Okay, tapos syempre, bigay mo yung lugar para mas madali in Angeles City. And then, syempre, it's not enough to give one sentence. Remember that. Never answer with one sentence. Kailangan laging may kadugtong. Anong pwedeng idugtong dito sa ancestral house in Angeles City? Okay? You can say, we've been there since I was, I don't know, 5 years old. Okay, 5 years old. Pwede, di ba? Okay, let's take a look at some answers here. Oh, I live in a single detached house. It has 3 rooms for my parents and for me and my siblings. It also has a spacious living room. Excellent answer. Presently, I'm residing, nice, in a bungalow type of house in an exclusive subdivision. Una, don't say exclusive. Bakit? Parang nagyayabang. Okay. Secondly, I live in a bungalow type of house. You can remove type of house because when you say bungalow, it's already a type of house. So it's gonna be redundant na lang. Maganda tong dinugtong. And I don't see myself leaving anytime soon. Oh, that's so nice. Maganda. That's conversational. Okay, and it's funny. The examiner, when the examiner laughs a lot, that's a good sign po. It means they're enjoying your answers. Well, they're not supposed to. Pero pag napatawan nyo yan, that's a good sign. Napatawan nyo because of your nice and witty answers, not because you're making mistakes, right? By the way, they don't laugh at your mistakes. They don't. Bawal yun. Depende. All right? You should learn how to answer this very common opening question. Do you live in a house or in an apartment? So ako personally, what did I say? Okay, sabi ko, ganito. I told my examiner, I'm very thankful, or I'm very, ano ba sinabi ko, lucky. I'm very lucky to have to finally have my own house and lot. Imbis na house and lot. Okay. It's small, but it's mine. Okay, but it's mine. And I worked hard for it. Yeah, that's what I said. Okay? Maliit lang siya, pero sa akin siya. Okay, nagpapasalamat ako. Even in Filipino, it sounds like a good answer. Okay? Next, I'm gonna give you the next question. Ito po. Ito na. I'm gonna give you 15 seconds for this one. So you need to say 2 to 3 sentences. Now, this is only part 1. So 2 to 3 sentences would be perfect. Can you describe your house? You have 15 seconds. Go. Yung mga estudyante kong nanonood, mag-practice kayo. All right, pwede na yan. So how was it? Were you able to say something nice or something descriptive about your house? One thing you need to remember is it doesn't need to be true. Yay! Sir, ang hirap i-describe kasi simple lang yung bahay. They invent a description. Does it need to be accurate? Does it need to be truthful? No, it's just an English test. Sir, what if they find out? Una, the examiner doesn't care. Secondly, how would they find out? Will they go to your home? Will they take a look at your address and then visit you? That's a waste of time. It just needs to be said, just needs to be said in good English. Yun lang ang kailangan yung gawin. Kung di nyo ma-describe, mag-invento kayo ng description. Just make sure it's believable. All right? So, what can you say, to describe your house? Maybe say the address. Diba? That's an easy way to do it. So, it's located. So, yeah. So, it's located in a place called, hindi ko bibigyan totoong address yeah, in a place called Golden Pond to. Galing sa ano to, sa Ielts listening to us. Okay, Golden Pond Village. Parang lakeshore, no? It's located in a place called Golden Pond Village in Siargao. Surigao na lang, in Surigao. And ano pa ba? It's new. It's new as it was only built 2 years ago or a couple of years ago. Imbis na 2, no? A couple of years ago. I'm proud. I'm proud of my small garden. There, perfect. Totoo bang may garden? Hindi naman kailangan totoo. Just describe. That's all that you need to do. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the examples. I would say it has a vast living room that our dog is ecstatic whenever it's running inside. Aside from that, our kitchen stores different types of spices because my mother is fond of cooking. Okay, tanggalin natin yung okay, paano ba to? I don't know what your house looks like. Okay, but when you say vast, ano yan parang kalawakan na yan space, the vastness of space, the vastness of God's mind, yung utak ni God yan, you describe it as vast. Or maybe when you have a panoramic view of the ocean, or when you're describing the world is vast. Okay, pero for a living room, maybe you can say spacious, you can say sizable. Okay, or you can say open looking. Kasi pag mukhang open, di ba? So ibig din sabihin nun, malaki yung space. Okay, thank you, Patrick. Yes, spacious would be a nice word also. Pero this is a pretty good answer anyway. Okay? Yan, excellent. Tapos, make sure that you laugh a little bit when you say, our dog is ecstatic whenever it's running inside. Okay, tawa ng konti. Kasi, guys, do you know that your facial expressions can actually affect the examiner? Okay, because people are mirrors. If you're showing the examiner that you're nervous, that you don't seem to believe your own answer, it will affect their grading of you. Guys, believe in your answer. And if you think you're making mistakes or it's not very good, okay, just laugh at it. Tawanan nyo na lang. Wala namang mababago. And your good attitude and good humor might actually, cause the examiner to have a more positive estimation of your answer. Imbis na negative yung estimation niya, positive, wala namang mawawala. Always space to smile. All right? Ano pa pwedeng dagdag? Can you describe your house? Maybe you can mention some special parts of your house or the parts that are missing. You can say, yeah, my house is blah 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 blah. One thing I don't like about it is we don't have a we don't have a subspace for our car. We don't have a parking garage. We don't have a garage because when they built it, we didn't have a vehicle then. So we have to park our two brand new Geely Ocavangos, okay, on the on the street in front of the house in Forbes Park. Wow, Forbes Park, walang parking space. Hindi siguro nagyabang eh. All right, going back. So you can mention things that are there, parts of your house, or the parts that are missing. Pwede yan. We have a nice backyard, or but my favorite part of the house is my small basketball court. Okay, behind the house. Oh, can you say we live in a nearly dilapidated house? Oh naman, that's a nice word, dilapidated. Pero kawawa naman, di na nalagaan yung bahay. Dilapidated means isang bulate na lang babagsak na. Okay? Pag hinipan mo, babagsak yung bahay. Matutumba na, napabayaan, dilapidated, parang shanty or barong-barong. Di ba? Here's another example. I live in a single detached house in the province of Iloilo. Between the mountains and the sea. My God, sounds like from a book, no? Near the highway. I love the fresh air in the morning and I enjoy the sunset. Nice, 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 nice. Ganda, ganda. So that's so descriptive. Beautiful. Next question na po tayo. By the way, if you it's okay that you're typing your answers but I'm not requiring it. Ang importante po, you say it out loud. Mas maganda kung nire-record. Are you recording yourself right now? Hindi no. Oh, if your phone is free, maybe you can record your answers so you can review them later. O, di ba? We're not being efficient, di ba? There's always a way to make your practice more efficient. You just need a good teacher to lead you to these techniques. Hindi yung tinuturo lang, this is the speaking test, it's 11 to 14 minutes. Tinuturo lang sa inyo format. No. Teaching strategies, that's how you know that your teacher is good. Maraming diskarte. Okay? Next. Here's the next question I was asked. So I'm going to give you some time to answer this. Okay? Go. What can you see from the window? Go ahead. 20 seconds. There you go, 20 seconds. So, kumusta? By the way, parang horror stories yung yung iba. This is actually fun, Ka and Ma'am Ka. Sige, sabihin mo sa Tesha, okay, and this is actually a fun answer. Sabi niya, their house is haunted because of a Japanese soldier. Because of Japanese soldiers who were buried there during World War II. I think the examiner would Maayong gabi. Yan. I think the examiner would enjoy this answer. Ganda. Okay, balik tayo sa what can you see from the window? Yan. Guys, it can be any window from your house. It can be your room, your bedroom window. It can be a living room window. Okay? Hindi naman specific yung tanong. And it doesn't mean that you only have one window. Okay? Ang ibig sabihin niyan, it can be any window. So it might be your kitchen window. So ang sabi ko, I laughed when I said this. Sabi ko, it looks like a jungle, okay? Because our window our window grills, okay, have been overrun by wild vines. Yun ang sinabi ko. Okay, it's the rainy season now. So plant growth is just crazy. Yan, totoo naman po because if you take a look outside my window, puro halaman na siya. I don't know what kind of vine it is. It's just a wild vine, but the flowers are really nice. Purple flowers, I think. All right? So, tignan nyo. It's 2 sentences. So, ganun lang siya. 2 to 3 sentences. Okay? Maybe some of you live in what? In, kanino yung kinabilyar? In Camellia Homes, and they usually have malls. Yung mga mall nila, yung Watermart. Hindi, all day, mga ganon. Oh. So one of my students answered, well, I live in a subdivision, and there's actually a big mall near what? If you take a look at our east windows, that's all that you see. So the view of the mountains is being blocked by this big shopping mall. And I think that's a good answer. I like that answer. Okay. What can I view from my wide window? And our wide window from our front yard is full of beautiful flowers and greenery at the further. Okay, Mimi. Ayun, Vista Mall. Thank you. So, Mimi, simplify your answer. Pasimplihin mo pa. Okay? What I can view from my wide window. Ganito. If I would modify your answer, Mimi, ito, ganito yung gagawin ko. Okay, take a look at my screen. Here's a better version. Oops. Pahin natin. Tanggalin mo ng what I can view from outside my wide window. Okay, let's paraphrase window. Sabi mo lang, I see. Diba? Or I can view. Wala kasi sino yung original. I can view our front yard full of beautiful flowers and greenery. Okay. I can also see, okay, colorful houses and passing vehicles instead of passing by vehicles. See colorful houses and passing vehicles. Okay, good job. That's a good one. Okay. So what can you see from the window? So isipin nyo, how would you answer that if you get this during the test? Kasi ulit-ulit lang mga yan. Okay. Gusto ko to, Ana. Our house is surrounded by cemented walls. So all I can see is walls. Damn, that's sad. Walang alaman. Okay, sige. That's also a good answer. But just make sure that you laugh when you say that, no? Para positive yung feeling ng examiner mo. Para matawa siya. Okay, puro pader. So your neighbors probably built firewalls, no? And then they built really tall houses. Tapos yung sa inyo, 1 floor. Kaya puro pader yung makikita mo. Yan. Maybe you can say, I only have a view of the front yard because all the other windows are blocked by our neighbor's walls. Ayan. That's a good answer. Next question. For those people who just came in, okay, we're doing a speaking workshop. Okay, I'm using questions from my exam yesterday. I just took the test book kahapon lang, British Council Office in Taguig. So I memorized my questions and now we're answering them. So I hope you participate for those people who just entered. Are there trees where you live? Okay, 20 seconds, go. Please speak, please answer. 20 seconds. Okay. Nakasagot ba tayo? Right? The simple answer is yes or no. Ganun lang po. Okay. Are there any trees where you live? So paano yung sinagot ko? Sabi ko, so yeah, our home, okay, our home is located in a new subdivision. Okay. So the developers, I included the word developers kasi that's higher level higher level vocabulary. Okay? Ang tawag dito, giniba nila lahat. Okay? So the developers leveled everything. Okay? Okay. We still do have a few trees though. Okay. Actually, the largest tree in the village, okay, can be found on on my lot. Ayan ang sinabi ko. Okay? Are there any trees where you live? Nasa lote ko yung pinakamalaking halaman sa village. Now, how do you improve this answer? Okay? By showing off your vocabulary. If you can mention uh, names of specific trees, then mas maganda. Siyempre, use the English name. Or better yet, you say the local name and then you give the English name. Okay? So ito yung sinagot ko, pero kung maulit ko yung test, kung maulit ko yung sagot ko, I would have added that information at the end. Yun lang yung isang regret ko eh. I have a very nice feeling about my listening, reading, writing, and speaking test yesterday, but this question lang, I would have improved this. Okay? What would I add? I would say it's called uh, asaresa or 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 aratilis in the Philippines. Okay? But okay, but it has English names like what? Like Taiwan cherry or African cherry or Madagascar cherry. Pag di nyo alam, maglagay lang kayo ng pangalan ng bansa because the examiners probably don't know it also. Okay? So I would have said Taiwan cherry. I read this somewhere. Okay, but it has a lot of names. I think like more than five names. Okay, English names. Let's take a look at some of your comments here. Uh, Certainly, our community planted a few trees along the sides of the streets. Okay, I think I need to address this. Ano yung difference ng few sa a few? Most of us say few, pero ang mas madalas na gamitin, ang mas tamang gamitin is a few, a few. What's the difference? When you say few, konti. When you say a few, it actually means meron. Merong halaman versus konting halaman. Do you have trees? Meron. Well, we do have a few. Do you have trees in your place? Konti lang eh. Very few. So, magkaiba. Yung few, negative. Yung a few, positive. Yun yung dating. Because words have positive, negative, or neutral, neutral meanings eh. Okay. So guys, most of the time, the correct answer should be a few, but uh, a lot of people keep on saying few. So ingat kayo ah. Very common yan. Very common mistake. Let's take a look at some answers from Joyce. Unfortunately, no. I'm currently living in Saudi Arabia. All I can see is sand. Tama, in residential buildings. Nice answer. I would say this during the test. Okay, Joyce, from Miss Koro, Jaira Koro. Are there trees where you live? No, our home is located in the heart of the city. I think all I can see are high-rise buildings. Okay, good. All I can see are high-rise buildings. Very nice. Next question tayo. Okay, I think this was the last question they asked me. Let me double check. Okay, so my final question for part 1. Here. Okay, do you like trees? 20 seconds. Go. Answer. All right. Again, simple answers would be yes or no. Walang maybe, walang maybe. Just make sure that you have a follow-up. So what did I tell my examiner? Sabi ko ganito, I love them. Yan, di ba? So didn't say trees, didn't say like. So good effort in paraphrasing. I love them. Okay. Okay. I grew up in the province. I grew up in the province. Okay. And there were a lot of of trees. Okay. lot of trees on our land. And then mag-name drop kayo, magsabi kayo ng sample para mas malaki. Okay? I was always climbing our guava trees and picking fruit for my actually for myself. Also for my grandmother, for my grandma. Yan. Simple lang, di ba? And it brought back good memories. Eh. So, if your answers bring back good memories, smile. Smile. Show it to the examiner that you're remembering something. Mas okay nga yun. It's better for your score. It's more natural. Di ba? Because in real life, you do that. Di tayo robot. Okay? Okay, I like this answer. Ito yung paborito kong sagot. Do you love trees? Definitely. That's a good one. During my younger years, I used to steal. I used to get some fruit, okay, from our neighbor's trees in our neighbor's backyard without asking permission. Yeah. Wow. Lahat yata tayo ginawa natin yan. Okay. Thank you very much. That's a good one. Next, part 2 na. So sabi ng examiner, okay, for the next part, I will give you a set of questions. You'll have a minute to think about the answer. You have some paper on your table, naka-prepare na agad, where you can make notes. By the way, they will ask you to throw away that piece of paper, okay, in the trash can after the interview. May naghihintay na trash can doon. Tapon nyo doon. Okay? You are not allowed to bring it with you. Okay? For part 2, Siri, you have one topic, 4 guide questions. You will have 1 minute to think about your answer and to make notes and to prepare some tips. Okay? Make sure you make notes. Make sure that you practice making notes. Why? That's a very, very important element. If you know how to make notes properly, then it will help you deliver a more organized answer. It will help you deliver more information and it will make your story better. Okay? You don't need a lot of time to make notes. You can, just get your phone, set an alarm. Maybe every 9 to 9:30 MWF, magpa-practice ka, gagawa ka lang ng notes. You can already practice in 30 minutes. You can probably practice maybe 6 to 8 topics na if you have 30 minutes. Okay, as long as you're, as you can focus and you're not being disturbed. Yeah, you can finish 6 to 8 topics in 30 minutes. So schedule ninyo yung review ninyo. Okay? Ano pa ba? Here's another piece of advice. Okay? Please, you don't need to look at the examiner during the 2 minutes that you're speaking. You don't need to look at the examiner. In fact, I got this advice from a couple of examiners. Mas maganda raw if you just take a look at your notes so that you can really follow what you're saying, so that you can concentrate. Wala namang plus point sa eye contact. Okay, so just take a look at your notes. Looking at the examiner might just distract you. It might cause you to forget. And there are no deductions for not looking. So tignan nyo na lang yung sinulat nyo. And then remember, you can always make further notes on the paper. Ako, what I do, after saying one answer, kino-cross out ko na so that I know kung ano yung tapos na at yung hindi pa tapos. Okay, so I don't know if you've formulated a technique in your group. So ito po. Here's part 2. Yan. I'll give you 1 minute to think, to make notes. Please get your paper now and your pencils. Sige. Papers and pencils ready, please. Oh, hello to our 2,642 FB Live viewers. Ilan na po ba? Sorry, fake lang yun. Curious lang ako. So we have 45 people in Zoom. Okay, how about FB? Okay, ready na ba ang paper? 141, 140 something for FB, all right? Yeah, ano yan, nadi-disconnect lang yung iba. It's very rainy in some parts of the Philippines right now. Also, alam nyo na signal. Swerte ko, di pa ako nadi-disconnect. Okay, ready? Part 2? Ready na? Ito na. Here's the question. Please make notes on a piece of paper. 1 minute only. Talk about a time when you got lost in a town or in a city. Please say where this happened, when it happened, why you got lost, and how you felt about it. Okay, 1 minute po. Make your notes. Go. All right, that's 1 minute. Okay, examiners are supposed to take away the questions after 1 minute. So I hope you made notes, all right, so that you have something to follow. Now, I will stay quiet for 2 minutes. Okay, I will announce the time every 20 seconds. Okay, I'll be announcing every 20. By the way, you won't see any clocks there in the room. Okay, so how do you know that the 2 minutes are over? Pag nagsalita yung examiner. Okay, for now, just for our session, I will announce every 20 seconds. All right. So please speak in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. 2 minutes. 20 seconds. 40 seconds. 1 minute. 1 minute, 20 seconds. 1 minute, 40. 'And it's 2 minutes. There you go. So, kumusta po? Kumusta? How was it? Okay, so how much time were you able to consume? Naka 1 minute ba kayo? Naka 40 seconds? Naka 2 minutes ba kayo? So let me know. Nagawa ba natin? Yes, yes, no? Oops. Here you go. Okay, some questions. Sabi niya, Sir, is there any formula on how to answer questions in part 2? Oo naman, meron naman. Or do we need to answer what the cue card is asking? Of course. Of course. Okay. If if you don't know what they're asking for, Sorry, if you don't give relevant information, you're gonna get a low score, di ba? For fluency and coherence. Kasi incoherent yung answer. Of course, you need to stick to the topic. Meron bang formula? Oo naman. Meron din. Okay, pero marami. I mean, do we need to answer all the questions listed in the Q? Well, if you want to reach 2 minutes, okay, the easy way would be to answer all of those questions. Pero necessary ba? Hindi. Okay? Kunwari nakalimutan mo yung yung isa. Pwede naman. Okay? Because these are just guide questions. However, would you be able to speak for 2 minutes if you don't answer some of them? Diba? So some people spoke for 1 minute, 20 seconds. Some people just said, I didn't make it, more practice for me. What you need to remember is you can get 7 without finishing the 2 minutes. In fact, kahit 1.5 lang yan, if the answer is good. Okay? Dalawa lang ba yung nag-try? Dalawa lang sumagot sa akin. So, if the answer is good, kahit 1.5 lang yan or 150, you can still get 7, of course. It's possible. Okay? Yeah. Pero, but if you practice for it, 2 minutes shouldn't be a problem. In fact, most band sevens will not have a problem for 2 minutes. Siguro kahit 3 minutes kaya nila yan. And if a band 9 can talk about it for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Kaya magkwento. Okay? Ang layo, 1 minute lang. Hindi malayo yan. Malapit na yan, Army. Okay? Mikhaila, what if you don't have a personal experience about being lost? Oh, then you're such a lucky person. Never ka pang nawala sa buong buhay mo. Okay. So maybe, you remember some of your friends' stories and you pretend that it's your story. Okay? Or you pretend that you were there with your friend. Kasi nga, hindi naman kailangang totoo yung sagot mo. So, just make up a story. Doesn't matter. Maybe your cousins or your relatives, your aunties, uncles, no, they always talk about this time that they got lost. And you just pretend you were there with them or you're the one who got lost. Okay. The nice thing about human beings is we have imagination. So you don't need to be limited by your personal experiences. Okay, di ko lang sinabing magsinungaling kayo. Okay, but it's just a language test. Okay, better than failing, better than repeating the test, right? Okay. So, some techniques. How do you get better here? Para sa akin yung notes talaga. Okay, the notes are very important. If you don't know how to make notes, then it's gonna be hard for you to perform well in the 2 minutes. Okay. So, ako, ang technique ko, I just draw boxes, 4 spaces, ayan, like what you see on screen. Because there are 4 questions, di ba? Apat yung tanong, edi may naguhugot na dito. I felt lost in life when she left me. Naku, wag po, sir. Wag po, kuya. Okay? Uh, here's a good question. What if I wasn't able to answer all the bullets, but I finished the 2 minutes? Oh, then it's fine. Totally fine. Alam nyo, ganito lang. Ang pinaka-importanting sagutin, siguro yung una, yung where this happened, of course, because that's the beginning of the answer. And then the last one, how you felt about it. Some people don't elaborate enough on the last. The most important question is always the last one. Make sure that you give it, priority. Mga 20, at least 20 seconds, maganda 30 seconds, how you felt about it. Ako, most of the time, I go directly to the last question, just to make sure that I answer it. Okay. So anyway, so I usually write a box. Okay. Tapos, where this happened. Oh, that's too small, I think. Okay. Let me enlarge the size. Okay, I think that's readable. Okay. So, ang sinulat ko sa notes ko, paper ko, MAC, short for Makati. Why? You don't need to write complete sentences. This isn't a writing test and your papers will not be graded. Okay, the purpose of the notes is to remind you what to say. It's to give you a roadmap. Okay, so sinulat ko lang, MAC for Makati. When it happened, the date doesn't need to be exact. Okay? So, ano na ngayon? 2021. So, sabi ko mga 2011. Okay, tapos sinulat ko DEC. Anong ibig sabihin ng DEC? Decade. So that maalala kong sabihin yung decade because decade is high level. Okay. I will get a higher score in vocabulary for saying a decade ago kaysa sa 2011. Okay. And you can say maybe, by the way. It doesn't need to be an exact answer. Why you got lost? Oh God, first time. Okay. And then how you felt about it. So how did I feel? Nung una, embarrassed. And then we had fun. Okay. And then we did some walking. Yan. So ito yung mga sasabihin ko. So nakapag-notes na ako no, for all of the questions, di ba? Okay. And here's another thing that you can do para ma-reach ninyo in 2 minutes. Okay. You add relevant information. Ano ba yung mga relevant information? Ito. What? Where? When? Why? Who? Tsaka how? Alright? Kahit hindi tinanong, pwede nyo idagdag. For instance, they didn't ask who was with me when I got lost. Pero, pwede kong dagdag. So I got lost in Makati with my brother, with bro. Okay? Ano pa ang pwedeng itanong dito? What, where, when, why, who, how? Pwede nyo dagdag. How long? How long were you lost? Ano katagal yun? So maybe, ano ba? Dito ko lalagay sa third box. Maybe we were late 1 hour because of that. Okay? So yun na. So with this additional information, okay, 2 or 3 additional bits of information, mas malapit na kayo sa ano, you're gonna get closer to 2 minutes plus it will help you, you know, deliver a better story kasi dapat kinikwento niyo to. By the way, no, when you speak, please don't speak like you're reciting. Okay, mag-recite. Tell the examiner a story. In that way, it will be more fun and it will be more natural. By the way, for my students who are on FB Live and in the Zoom session, we will have speaking tomorrow tomorrow in the afternoon session. So we'll be practicing with a lot of part 2 questions, all right? Para sa mga nagme-message sa akin sa FB right now. Oh, practice tayo bukas. Okay, maraming part 2 questions. Mga 10 siguro. So anyway, here's a question. How to start a good introduction? Okay, very good. Guys, when you start, please do not just copy the questions here. I'm going to talk about a time. Okay, I'm going to talk about a time. No. Please don't do it like that. Okay, make sure that you paraphrase. So anong pwede natin gawin dito? You can avoid saying town or city. How do you do that? Just say the name of the place instead of in a town or in a city. No. I remember getting lost in a city and it's called Makati City. Sana sinabi mo lang Makati City because na get lost in a city. Just say the name, okay? Next. You don't even need to say I remember a time. Time, paraphrase natin 'yon. Okay? How about got lost? How do you avoid saying that? Maybe you don't need to. Hindi naman kailangan lahat i-paraphrase. Don't really need to paraphrase everything. Just a few words. So here's a sample. Oops, sorry. So, ano yung magandang start? I'm gonna give you some opening sentences. So, I remember, yan. Here's an easy pattern. I remember. Imbis na I'm gonna talk about or I will describe lang. Okay? I remember this time, again, when we got turned around. Turn around. Okay? In Makati. Yan. So, imbis na got lost, got turned around. Okay, here's another one. Okay, you can say around a decade ago. Okay, we were trying to get to British Council. Okay, but we got disoriented. Ayan, no? Tignan nyo, there's so many ways to start it. Why don't you just, start by saying when or by saying where? Di ba? Sabihin nyo na lang agad. Okay? How else can we start this? Let me think of another one. Um, para sa mga may sense of direction. So you can say, I don't usually, okay, sorry. You can say this usually doesn't, okay? Doesn't happen to me, okay? But around, 2011, it did. O yan, no? There's so many ways to start it. Okay? Minsan lang kasi, di kayo makapag-isip. Kasi you're not even trying. Paano ko sisimulan to? Paano ko sisimulan to? Sit down, think about it. Maybe write it down on paper. Okay, ask yourself, have you really tried? There's so many ways to begin. Okay. Here's another. Okay, let's take a look at some of the answers from the participants. Sabi niya, okay. Oh, ito, pwede. Oh. It happened in Bangkok 2 years ago. Oh, ganda. It happened in Bangkok 2 years ago. Pwede. Okay. Here's another one. Although I'm bad at directions, oh, I wouldn't use okay, ganito I'm an extremely peripatetic person. This is a good example of a very high level, okay, terminology, but do they actually answer like this in real life? In the US, in the UK, in English-speaking countries. Kasi yun ang kailangan nating gayahin eh, how the natives answer. Okay, so this is definitely high level, but it's not actually very natural. So, ano yan make sure that natural yung pasok ng peripatetic. Alright? Peripatetic is, paano ba? Hindi yung pathetic, no? Pathetic is nakakawa. Peripatetic is, Makati ang talampakan. Yan. Tama ba ako? Layas sa bahay. Laging nasa labas. Okay? Tapos, siguro mas maganda yung second sentence mo, Sir Patrick. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so yan, I put some examples here. Okay, so how do you do this? When you practice, time yourself making notes and then you record yourself, okay, speaking for 2 minutes. Basta tapusin niyo yung 2 minutes. Here's a good question, sir. Do I actually need to answer everything in 2 minutes? No. Kunwari, di mo nasagot lahat, pero umabot ka ng 2 minutes. So you missed some of the bullet points. Okay lang, maganda nga yun eh. It means that you could have delivered more. Okay, will the examiner let you finish? No, as long as the 2 minutes are up, they will interrupt you. Don't worry if you miss a few. As long as nasagot mo yung last question, how you felt about it. Okay yan. Okay, even if you forget about the other bullet points, that's fine. That's not a problem. Time check. Oh, it's 10:48. Got carried away. Sige, ganito na lang, no? So, let me show you all my part 3 questions. We don't have time to answer them one by one now. Okay. Pero in this part, I got a lot of laughs and nods from my examiner. Na dapat, alam ko, di nila dapat ginagawa yun. They're not supposed to give you an indication. Pero pag hindi mapigilan ng examiner sarili niya, it probably means you're doing well. Kasi nakaka-relate sa sagot mo. That's a good sign, when they start. Kesa yung parang patay sila. Okay? But then, of course, my examiner is young. So, siguro bago. Kaya ganun pa. Most of the older examiners, alam nilang pigilan yung sarili nila. Okay. Oh, someone is asking about the books. Yeah, I think so. Meron kaming discounts. Okay, I'm gonna share it after this one now. Let's just finish the session. So, here were my part 3 questions. Yan. So, yung closing off question ko is, do you get lost often? So, sabi ko, madalas yung mga pinsan ko walang tiwala sa akin. I always get them lost. Which do you prefer? Maps on paper or electronic maps? As you can see, may sila, no? They're related to part 2, thematic, may tema. Okay. What are the advantages and disadvantages of electronic maps? Do you think children should be taught how to read maps? Sabi ko, of course. Okay, the more skills we can impart to our kids, the better it is for them. Okay, the higher the chances of survival. Do you think it's possible to teach everyone how to read maps? So, usually ang sagot natin dito, yes or no, di ba? Guys, you can answer with why not? Di ba? Pwede kang magtanong ng ano eh. Anong tawag sa mga questions na to? Rhetorical questions. Do you think it's possible to teach everyone how to read maps? Oh, why not? Sure. O, pwedeng ganun, di ba? Huwag yung yes, no lang. Dami naman. Tapos yung pinakahuli ko, okay, related pa rin naman sa topics pero higher level na. You know, they will probably just try to surprise you to see if you can keep up. Okay? So what is usually the first major decision that people make in their lives? Ang sabi ko is, oh, we make a lot of these things, we make a lot of decisions, but I think the first, the first authentic one is, when we go to college, so which course to take and then which university to or which college to go to. Okay, let's be honest, in elementary and high school, our parents decide because they're paying for it. But when you go to college, then you're an adult and it's your future. So that's when things really change. Yan. So yun yung sinagot ko dito sa huling tanong. Okay? I don't have time to answer all of them. Sorry po. 10:51 na. I only have until 11. Maybe next time, right? But think about how you would answer that. Tips dito sa part 3, hindi na po pwede dito ang 2 sentences lang. Okay? Hindi na pwede. Try to aim for maybe 3 long sentences or maybe medium length sentences, mga 4 to 5. Okay? Okay, kung mahaba yung 3 sentences mo, pwede. Pero kung hindi, 4 to 5 sentences would be a very good rule of thumb for this one. So questions, please start typing your questions so we can finish the session. Okay. Sir, that's what happened to me. Lots of nods and laughter from the examiner. I got 7 and I'm not that fluent. Yeah, it's very good when they're nodding and laughing. Sir, what can you say for those examiners? Sir, what can you say for those examiners who would extract questions based on your last answer? Okay, Angie, clarify pa. Clarify pa. I don't know how to interpret that one. Pwede niyong Tagalogin yung tanong niyo. This is not the exam. Okay lang yan. From G. Sulapas, how is part 3 scored po? Oh, that's easy. 25% fluency and coherence, 25% grammar, 25% vocabulary, and 25% pronunciation. Next question. Sir, can we use Yes. Okay. Oh naman, yeah. Pero wag naman every sentence. I actually used this during my test yesterday. Ginamit ko to siguro mga 2 beses. Okay, when I was talking about the disadvantages of of Waze and Google Maps. Well, you probably know this because they give you the wrong directions, Oh, ginanong ko siya, tas tumawa. Okay. Another question. Is it okay to say every time I look outside the window, I always see my little garden that I've created during the lockdown? Yes, that's a nice answer. Ma'am. Maganda yan. Good. Other questions about speaking? Sige po, just type in your questions. While you're doing that, pwede ba akong mag-promote ng konti? Okay, konti lang po, promise. All right. So here you go. Yan po. So, why choose World English? I know you have a lot of guest speakers. Okay, pero please compare the quality. Compare our classes with them. Ano yung mas nakakatulong sa inyo? Maybe that would help you make the decision. Kasi that's hard-earned money. We know how important that money is. Sa amin, hindi biro-biro yan. We're a small company. We know you want to get your money's worth. Okay? Why do you need to choose us? Because you're professionals. You need 7 or more. And a self-review, honestly, even though you have an excellent Facebook group here, a self-review is probably not enough. Okay, you need professionals to get you to that last half band or maybe even whole band. Okay, somebody who knows, what they're teaching. Next, you have access to teachers. Okay, Monday to Friday, as early as what? Well, I like starting 9 in the morning. Pero if you're abroad and you want to study very early or very late or madaling araw, just inform our manager. We will make a teacher available for you. Okay. Next, we are small, but we are highly trusted. You can ask British Council and IDP. We have a very good reputation in the industry. Kilala na po nila kami. Tumawag kayo sa kanila, message them, ask them about us. Okay? We don't have a factory approach with our teaching. Okay, hindi yung PowerPoint. In fact, I usually don't use PowerPoint in my classes because at the beginning, I take a survey of my students. I take a look at their background and we adjust our teaching according to that one. Okay. We provide regular guidance. Okay, kayo na lang yung magsasawa sa amin kasi makulit kami. Okay, flexible hours, and we don't tell you that we know someone in the office, we can help you magic your score, or we know what's coming out, close kami with examiners. Hindi po. That's not learning. That's just cheating. Okay, so we're very ethical in our approach, pero fun din. Okay, so enroll in our reviews and sabihin nyo lang galing kayo dito sa group na to and we will give you discounts. Oh, I think I downloaded the wrong PowerPoint. Oh, I downloaded an earlier one. Okay, pero meron pa rin kami discount. Tawag lang po kayo. Or give us a text and we will call you. For those asking about discounts on our books, so I wrote books on writing Task 1 GT Academic and writing Task 2. Almost 40 questions, okay, for Task 1, almost 40 for Task 2. And I wrote those answers. Okay? So, imbes na mag-isip kayo, may outputs na. Magbabasa na lang kayo. Maybe you read 1 or 2 every day until you take your test. And these questions are often repeated. Okay? So, yun po. So just contact us for the discounts. I think we have a 2-for-1 promo right now. Okay, next. This is our Facebook page. Okay, you can contact us using our number. Ito ay nasa likod ko. Ito, nasa baba. Yan, that's Ma'am Say. Okay, 0917-657-8606 or send us a message on Facebook. World English po. World English. Okay, Ielts, OET, we can definitely help you out. Yeah, so let's take a look at some of the questions po. Okay, guys, administrative questions like pricing, the stuff, scheduling, just send our manager a message kasi sa totoo lang, I don't really know. Kasi focused ako sa teaching po. That's my part, okay? Tapos, what other questions are you asking now? Very quickly. Mas malaki ba ang score sa part 2? No, they grade the whole interview, not just part 1 or part 2. So, walang 30% sa part 1, 30% sa part 2. Walang ganun. It's the whole interview that's being graded. And that's good news because if you don't do well in part 1 or part 2, hindi pa tapos yan. Bawi kayo sa part 3.
We need some financial assistance.
Yes, we all do. Admit ko lang yan. Yan, lahat tayo kailangan natin ng financial assistance. So hindi po mas malaking score sa part 2, no. They score the whole thing. So hanggat dito po sa interview, pwede nyo pang mapataas yung score ninyo. Next. Okay, from Angie. What I mean is sa huling sagot mo, dun din kukuha ng tanong uli like what they ask on your answer. Yeah, sometimes they do that, but they actually have to ask from, they have a questionnaire. Dun lang sila pwedeng kumuha ng questions. Okay, they can modify some of them, pero most of the time, isang set na yan, naka-prepare na. Okay? Can you enroll only for speaking and writing? Guys, yung sa amin kasi, we're focused on one-on-one and you can choose whatever you want. If you're already confident with your listening and reading, kahit puro speaking tsaka writing yung one-on-one sessions ninyo, pwede. One session is about 55 minutes. Okay? Our students have a minimum of 8 sessions, pero kung naubos nyo agad and you want more, mura na lang yung mga kasunod. Okay? Can we use the PPF method in all parts of the questions? Okay, Dimple, what is PPF? Okay. How to enroll po? How to enroll? Just contact our numbers, okay? Or contact our Facebook page. Here's our number, send a text. Kung gusto niyo ng call, tatawagan kayo ng manager namin ni Ma'am Say. Right? Or send us a message on FB. Any tip from going off topic? Oo. Oo. Ano, for part 1, 2 to 3 sentences. For part 3, mga 4 to 5 sentences. Okay? And of course, practice. Get feedback from a good teacher who can tell you pag palayo ka na o hindi. Okay? We will not know unless di natin susubukan. How much is the enrollment fee? G, sorry, di ko memorize. Iba-iba kasi yung programs namin eh. So, meron kaming 1 month unlimited which I don't recommend. Ang recommended ko yung 3 months unlimited. Sir, wala ba kayong unlimited lifetime? Guys, racket ang mga yan. Yung mga unlimited for life. Dude, hindi totoo yan. I've been in the industry for 16 years. Ang gagawin lang nila, ay nag-change of management po, hindi na applicable yung lifetime unlimited. Dude. And guys, do you want to review forever? Or do you want to review for 1 month tapos alis na kayo or 3 months lang alis na kayo o gusto niyo mag-review ng 5 taon. Dude, you want to succeed? Give yourself a deadline. Okay? Ayun po. For inquiries, contact Miss Say or Miss Chat. Ayun po yung number sa chat box. Narinig ko na do itong PPF approach, past, present, and future. Guys, ganito, no? I don't like this method. Itong PPF method na to. I've seen it before in some YouTube videos. Guys, you cannot apply it to all questions. Kasi minsan kaya na off topic yung bang estudyante dahil dito I don't like this. 'Di ba? Kunwari, tinanong kayo, where do you live? Sasabi mo, well, in the past when I was younger, we live in this place, but right now we're living in Pampanga, but in the future I think I will be living in the UK. Medyo pa off topic na. That's only a part 1 question. Just answer it directly, yung present. Okay, pandagdag na lang yan. Kung wala kang maisip, pwede mo dagdag. Pero give the most direct answers first. Okay? Next, ayan po yung information. May questions pa po ba? Kung wala na, thank you very much for having me. Sorry, I didn't finish all of them kasi binasa ko lahat nung gusto nyong pa-check. Okay, but maybe we can do that sa next na guesting ko sa inyo. My students tomorrow, didiscuss ko lahat yan plus yung lumabas sa writing tsaka sa reading. Yung reading, galing sila sa earlier books, yung topics.
Alright.
Thank you.
For the link, Sir DJ. Hopefully, maka-attend din kami.
Naku, walang 10, 9 lang yan.
Okay, so...
Okay, I think there is no more question from Facebook and Zoom, right?
Yes, there's
So
no
yeah,
question.
thank you so much, Charlie J, and on behalf of your team and IFNG, to Gladys and Marvin. So we'll close the session now. So thank you so much for coming. I hope for sure you'll learn a lot.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Sir
so-
DJ, to IFNG.
Yes, see you. Kung kailangan nyo ng tulong, alam nyo na saan pupunta. Panoorin
Yes,
nyo lang mga
sir.
free class. So,
Okay, thank you, Sir Lee. Bye.
Salamat po. Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.